Hello, hello, hello. I have to get my computer right. Good morning, everybody. I see I've got one person so far. Who could that be? Miss Maria. Hello, Maria. Can you see me, hear me? Julie, I can see and hear you. Maria, Michelle, Heidi, welcome. Please let me know in the chat button or the Q&A if you can see me and hear me. Looks like you can. Hello, 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 everybody. Let's see. I wonder who else is coming. Paula's not going to be here. Okie dokie. Can you see me? Can you hear me? Q. Let me look at my question. Yes, Michelle can see me and hear me. Yay. Heidi, can you see me, hear me? You've never been on here before, but there's a Q&A down at the bottom, and it says Q&A or chat, either or. And if you can just let me know if you can see me and hear me, that would be fantastic. And if not, I'm going to assume you can. And if you just see my mouth moving, I can hear, but very low volume. Ooh, okay. Who said that? Maria. Wait a minute. I can see. Okay, Heidi can see me and hear me. Is my volume okay? Oh, good. Okay, good, good, good. All right, everybody, I got y'all. Beautiful. Hi, welcome. Can you see my best day ever? I'm kind of in the way, but this is still going to be our best day ever, for sure. Okay, welcome. Heidi's new to the group today, so welcome, Heidi. And I pretty much know who's going to be coach today. But before we coach, oh, Julie's welcoming you, Heidi. Before we coach, what I want to do first is do a little snippet about what I want to talk about today. And it comes from a book that's called An Invitation to Pause Again by my dear friend, Janet Archer. She's a colleague of mine, and this is her second book. And the reason that I'm recommending it is because they're little snippets. She's a mindfulness coach, and she's all about being here and now, and she's all about the model and how it works. And I love the combination of Buddhism and the model together. I think it works so well. Julie, you sent me something really good from Sharon Salzberg's book, all about mindfulness. And so I hope you guys are reading Sharon Salzberg's book about real happiness, because it's about how to manage your mind. But anyway, I want to read you this. And because what I want to talk to you about today is December, and I want that to be the December project of you. And so we're going to start with something that I'm going to read you a little story. And it's called Here and There, which is why I have that here. Oh, this thing isn't on right. There we go. There we go. Okay. If you take the T away from the word there, you get the word here. Here and there are really very similar to the I, and yet they are so extremely far apart in reality. As a culture, we are taught to strive for there. When I get there, all my problems will be solved and life will be so much better. But every time we get there, it is like the proverbial carrot dangling in front of us. There is always a new there to get to. If we are always trying to get there and not dropping down into here while getting to there, we are ahead of ourselves and missing the joy of living in the here. Being here has to be practiced every day. You can't get here if you're always practicing getting there. In the rush and tumble of everyday life, drop the T as many times as you can and get to here. Because at the end of our lives, we will finally realize that there was no there. There was only ever this, here, now. I think it's just a really good thing to think about for December, and the whole idea of how our mind is always taking us to the next best thing, and we never concentrate on where we are and how we got here. So that's kind of the focus of what I want to talk about today. And this book, An Invitation to Pause, again, for those of you who are doing morning pages, some of the suggestions that I made about how to start your morning, this is a great book to read when you first start your morning pages, because it's just like 2 pages of story, and it gives you something to think about. And I'll tell you, it just enhances my morning pages and how I manage my mind. So feel free to use it if you like. Okay, so now I want to talk to you before we get into coaching, because I got a lot of coaching to do today, thank goodness. And the project of the December project of you, I came up with that on the podcast based on my last trip to Mexico with my my sister-in-law, my daughter-in-law, who is like my daughter, and my son and my 2 grandkids and my husband. I have got to tell you that when I watch her take care of her kids and prepare for her kids each day, and then I talk to some of you guys, or I'm coaching some of my clients, and some of the things that you say to me is like, "Oh my gosh, I was out all day and I didn't have anything to eat. I forgot." I mean, I hear that a lot. Or, "I didn't have time." Or so many of the things that we think and say to ourselves because we're all in such a hurry. And then I watch her with these 2 kids, and I think about how much time she puts into it every day before she walks out of the house. And I was also a beneficiary of all her thoughtfulness because we always had food available because if the kids were hungry, there was something to eat always. It was healthy and good for them. And you know what? It's just not only is she thinking about her kids, she's thinking about herself. Because you know what it's like to be with kids who are tired and hungry and crabby and all of that stuff? It was a pleasure being with the children because they were so well taken care of. And that's what I want for you guys. I want you to think of yourself as your child and treat yourself as your child whenever you do something for the day. I want you to take care of yourself the way my daughter-in-law takes care of her kids. It really was a beautiful thing to watch, and it made me think of so many things about December and the holidays and how we need to take better care of ourselves. Like, so when I say the project of you in December, I mean first you, and then you can take care of other people, as opposed to I'm going to take care of the whole world first in December, and then if there's anything left for me, I'm going to take care of me. I want it to be the opposite. I want it to be I take care of me first, and then what I have, I take care of other people. And I really want you to think about that as I'm coaching you today about what you want the project of you to be for this December. And I hope that it includes something about the body whisper, about paying attention to your body, not only when it's hungry and when it's full, but also when it's tired or when you're in pain. When something is going on, can you take care of yourself? Can you listen? Can you do what you need? I'm thinking of my daughter-in-law, these kids. You know, something hurts them. Oh my God, sweetheart, what's wrong? Show me. Tell me what's wrong. I mean, it's like, explain it to me. It's like, oh, forget about it. We don't have time for you. It's like everything is paying attention. And you know what happens when children feel well taken care of and paid attention to? They're just so much happier. We have an opportunity to take care of ourselves and feel well taken care of. There's nobody else that's going to come around and take care of you if you haven't noticed it by now. There's no knight in white shining. There's no knight on a horse ready to pick you up. You guys know that by now. But you can be that person to you, and December is the month that I want you to do it. Okay, you got that? That's my message to you. Okay, so now I'm going to call, I want to pull up Maria first. Oh, you know what? Huh, I just noticed. Stephanie's not here. I'm here and I can, okay. Maria, I'm going to pull you up. I was going to do Stephanie, but she's not here. So let me go ahead, Maria. I'll show you how this works. I am going to pull you up. I'll show you how it works. Just hang in here with me a minute. Okay, first I'm going to allow you to talk. Maria, so you should be able to hear me and you can talk. So you can say hello to me. And you can, do you hear me, Maria? You can talk. And now I'm going to bring you, Maria, I talked. Oh, really? I can't hear you. I'm going to promote you to panelist too. Hang on for a minute, Maria. Hang on for just a second. Okay, I should be able, I think I've got your video up now. I'm going to, you're unmuted. You should be able to pull up the video. Allow panelists to start video. Can you start your video, Maria? It's down at the bottom on the left. Can you see it? Can't hear you either. You should be able to talk. You might want to look and make sure you're not muted down at the bottom, because it says you can talk, and you also can turn on your video. Can you do that? Okay, you just muted. Okay, you're muted now. Now you're unmuted. I unmuted you. Wait a minute. You unmute yourself. Try and unmute yourself. Because right now I have you muted. And you can also turn your video on. No? Let's see. I'm here and I can hear. Okay, Maria, you're there. Do you see the mute, the video and the mute button on your left-hand corner? I think you're muted. I'm going to unmute you again from here. I can't. You muted yourself. So now I can't do it. You have to unmute you. So on the bottom left, you can mute it, unmute yourself. Okay, now I just lost you. You just went back. I'm going to bring you back to, I'm going to try it one more time. I'm going to allow you to talk.
Okay.
Oh, I hear you now.
Okay, can you see me?
No, but I'm going to bring you up again. I should be able to do
Okay,
it now.
all right.
Yep, hang on.
Okay.
Hang on.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you, so don't hear. Hang on.
I'm sorry.
Okay, now I'm bringing you to a panelist.
Hi.
Hi, if you can turn your video on now.
Okay. Did it go?
Nope, but I can hear you.
Host has disabled it. Okay. It says you've disabled it.
I've disabled it. Okay.
Oh.
Hang on.
Okay.
Try it now.
All right. Okay.
I think you're
Zoom.
coming.
Okay.
There you are, Maria, in person.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Whew. I had to turn my privacy setting off.
Okay. Okay. So you're a little soft.
Okay.
I hear you better. Can everybody hear her? Somebody
Okay.
tell me if they hear her okay. Just put it
A little closer.
You don't have to come closer. You're good.
Okay.
You're good. You're good. You can maybe go back just a little bit.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. Okay, Maria. Hello,
Okay.
hello. Okay, yes, Julie can hear you. All right. All right. Let's get started here.
Okay.
This is your first time
Yes.
being on video. It's the first time I've seen you. Hello.
Yes. Hello. Doing well. And unfortunately, I have to be in my car today. So yes.
No problem. No problem. All right. So you sent me, and stop moving your video or you're going to make me dizzy.
Yeah.
Okay. So what you sent me, I'm going to just read what you wrote. I'm going to read the second part because you said that you're using an app, and we can talk about that later. I think it's fine. And it's called Rise Up. For anybody that's interested, if they want to use an app to Food Journal, I congratulate you on finding something to continue to Food Journal. That's the most important thing. And I looked at it and I think it's just fine. The only thing I want to correct on there is when you put why you're eating, you put urges in some of those. And really, an urge, really, it's just a fog eat.
Okay. Oh, right. All right.
Right. And there's something that's creating an urge, which is going to be a thought. So the feeling is an urge.
Right.
But if you put urge in there and you're eating between the twos and you're eating a fuel food, I'm not sure why you put it there.
Okay.
So I saw that, like, so for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, I don't want to get into it a lot right now, other than just to tell you, I think you said it like with peanuts, you said you had an urge that you still needed to eat more.
Right. Right.
I think that if you're hungry and you've eaten your food, your fuel food, and you still feel hungry, like you're still under a +2.
Under 2, right.
And you choose peanuts. and you're considering it a fuel food.
Right.
Okay. That's not a fog, and I'm not sure why you called it an urge, because when I think of an urge, I think of the brain telling you to eat it when you don't want to be eating it.
Oh, I see. Okay.
You know, it's an urge is like wanting to eat something when you don't want to be eating it. And so you're fighting against it.
Okay. I see what you're saying.
And
Okay.
we're learning how to allow urges, which is a lot about what we talked about last week, just to remind everybody about the urge jar.
Right.
Did you work on that, by the way?
You know what? I started it, but I would walk by it and it would remind me. It was very strange how my brain worked, I guess. I saw it, and if I wasn't even thinking about food or snacks or whatever, I would walk by it and that would remind me, it would trigger me in some way. So I kind of stopped and put it away.
That is fascinating.
Yeah. And it's not that I went and got a snack or anything. It went into my mind. And then I caught myself and I'm like, I'm looking at this jar every time I walk by it. And it put something in my mind that wasn't even there before. And then I started thinking, oh, resisting urges, managing urges. I should be, it just entered things into my mind that I wasn't even thinking of. So I took it away from the shelf.
Okay, so I think that's interesting in itself.
It's just me, I guess. Yeah.
Well, of course, it's always you. It's always your mind. It's always what it thinks. And it looks at the urge jar and it starts thinking things.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. And what your brain is thinking is, I don't want to be thinking about urges.
Right. I have too much to think about elsewhere.
But actually, it's just a reminder that if and when you have an urge, that you can decide to manage it, or you can decide to give into it. And I think you got a little confused with it. I think that's why I saw it in the food journal that way is I think it was just a little confusing. So for everybody, an urge is basically when you think something that says, ooh, just like you said at the end of your email about wanting to reward yourself.
Right.
Like, so when you're hosting meals for people, when you're doing events, right? Because you plan events with food for people. Right. And what you said in your email is, I'm doing more of those and I need to do something about the urges that I'm having. Mm-hmm. How do I handle them? Right. Basically, if I didn't read it, is that basically what it was?
Yes, exactly. Because the circumstance is that I'll continue to host these big events, but I need to change my thoughts so that I can manage my mind better and not always think that you've worked so hard, you need to reward yourself. And that's a really old thought that creeps in there.
Okay, so we'll look at it. So I just want you to say that what you've said to me is you've had 2 parties to prep for this week, and I'll continue to host events. I just lost your video, by the way. Oh, there you are. Okay. And what you said, so it's my nature, that's my C.
Oh, did I have that in there? Okay.
Yeah. And it's your nature is not the C.
Right.
You host events is the C.
Yes, I host events. That's the C.
When you think it's my nature to host events, that's your thought about the C.
Right.
Okay. How does it make you feel when you think it's your nature?
That I will never change.
Okay. Do you want to change?
In a lot of ways, I do. I want to participate, but I don't always want to be the one in charge all the time.
Well, isn't that interesting? So you know what? I think it's so interesting in your email that you told me it's my nature, that's my C. You think you're reporting the news to me about these parties that you do.
Right.
So the C is that you're hosting these parties, these events.
Yes.
Right. And your thought is it's my nature, and it makes you feel almost like pressure, right?
Right. I'm pressuring myself. And these are all really voluntary, except for the husband's holiday party.
Okay, but everything is voluntary. Your
Yeah,
thought,
right.
your thought that it's not voluntary or that it is voluntary is very interesting.
Yes.
Based on it's your nature.
Right.
See, because you thought you were reporting the news about it's your nature.
And I was reporting my thought.
You're reporting your thought that's creating a lot of negative emotion for you about doing these parties.
Right.
So I think we'll go ahead and model that first, because why do you want to be rewarded to begin with? For your hard work, right?
For my hard work, yes.
For your hard work that you don't want to be doing.
I want to do part of it, but I don't want to be the only person doing it.
All right.
So that brings in delegation. And
well, what it brings in is, let's look at a model. Because what you're telling me and what you're telling us is that what you want is you want to be able to manage your mind around the food.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and what I'm saying to you is, first you have to manage your mind around why you're even doing it.
Right. My motivation. Right.
Right. Because if you're doing something that you don't want to be doing, then you're rewarding yourself for doing something that you don't want to be doing.
Maybe that's what the trap is that I get into.
Well, the trap is that you think it's your nature to do it and you don't want to be doing it.
Right.
So if you can see this, yes.
Yes.
Circumstances hosting parties. Usually it's charities, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all charities. It's events, yeah. And the receptions and
yeah, and I just want you to see that you think that it's like you don't have to do, you just said it's voluntary. I just think that's fascinating too.
Yes, it is.
Because everything that we all do, if we think we have to do it as opposed to that we voluntarily want to do it, it's just a headset.
Yeah.
So, Maria, everything that you do in your life, basically you're volunteering to do it.
Yeah, everything. Right.
For everybody. Nobody has to do anything. Right? Okay, so let's just go to it's my nature.
Yeah, that's
and it makes you feel
pressure. I put pressure on myself.
Pressure on self. So what happens in your A line? What do you do? What do you do when you're hosting parties and you think it's your nature? Because it could be a thought that makes you feel good. It just doesn't.
Right. Some of the time it makes me feel good. I get overwhelmed. I have continuous to-do lists. You're talking about?
Let's put overwhelmed.
Overwhelmed. Yes. Okay.
Continuous to-do list. Put pressure on yourself.
Yeah. I lose sleep.
Lose sleep. What about food at these parties?
Yes. Well, I try some of the things that I make.
I think like in the A line, and this is just from your email, I think what happens is that, whoa, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. What happens is that in your A line, I think you want to reward yourself with food.
So I'm giving myself a reason to work. I work so hard to give myself a reason to reward myself.
I think in the A line, you're using food.
With food. Okay.
What do you think?
I never thought of it like that, in that way.
Because in the end of your email, that's just what you said. How do I stop thinking that I need to reward myself?
Right.
Right. That was it. That's your question, is how can I do these parties and not want to reward myself at the end with food?
Right.
So I want everybody to see the reason is because of this model.
Right. So I can change it where I'm not.
Or you can keep it. But know that as long as you believe that it's your nature and it makes you feel overwhelmed, like you have to do it.
And
And so,
pressure.
and so the A line is you take on things you don't want to do.
Right, right.
Take on things
I don't necessarily want to do.
don't want to do.
Mhm.
So that means you become a liar because you tell people, sure, I would love to do it, and you don't.
Yeah, nobody else is doing it. We have to celebrate this 10-year anniversary or whatever. Yeah. Like, we have to do this. Come on, people.
What's the result of a continuous to-do list, putting pressure on yourself, losing sleep, taking on things that you don't want to do, saying yes when you mean no?
Right. The result is I continue to provide evidence of my thoughts.
Which is you
That is
prove that it's your nature. You're proving to yourself that you're a liar.
Okay, that's a big one.
I really like to say that when people say yes and
Yeah.
they mean no, they're liars. You're lying.
Right. Okay.
And I know you don't think of yourself that way. I think you think of yourself as a righteous, virtuous person. You know, I mean, you're doing charity events. You're trying to help people.
Right. We're trying to.
But you're lying.
Okay.
To yourself and to the other people.
Okay.
And the result is that you prove in your nature that you're actually proving is all these A things. Is that you try to reward yourself with food? Is that you say yes when you mean no? That you put all this pressure on yourself, that you lose sleep, and that's your nature.
And it's really not my nature.
So prove it's my nature. Does everybody see that? Okay. So, I mean, you want to continue to think this?
No.
Okay.
No.
So, I mean, because you can.
Right.
But if you don't want to, and it's the holidays. You're going to host some parties through the holidays. You've got 2, right?
I did last week, and I've got one tonight.
All right. And are you going to be doing more the holiday?
No. No. I'm going to be
Okay, so you just want to know how to deal with tonight.
Yeah, all the work for tonight's done, but it's everything's good.
Okay, this is what's not good. What's not good is the way you think about it.
Right.
So let's just say for now that you're going to be hosting more parties at this point, right? You're going to be doing more charity work, right?
Yes.
When you want to. So why don't we create a model, not just on tonight, but on this work that you want to do? So I think you want to, I mean, the circumstance is doing charity work, correct? Hosting charity events. Why do you do that?
Why do I do that? Because I moved to this small town, and I have a background in leadership, you know, from my old job, but I don't want to get a job here in this small town. So I'm channeling my energy and efforts into nonprofits right now.
Why?
Why?
Yeah.
Why do I do that? Why do I?
Yeah.
Because
I mean, why don't you just stay home and eat bonbons or something instead of doing work like this?
No. Because I like to engage in the community. I like to find out what needs are in the community and help, programs get more exposure, promote them, help them raise money. I meet a lot of friends that way, moving to a small southern town, and it's a way to meet friends and use the gifts that I have as far as leadership.
Okay. All right. So we have done some coaching on this before, right?
Yes, we have.
Okay. So we're unlayering some more stuff. And
Yes.
part of the purpose of this was the purpose of this whole thing was I want to stop rewarding myself with food,
Yes.
right? And so when we look at this, part of the reason that it's your unintentional model where the rewarding is coming from,
Yes.
right? And also the whole idea is that, can you even reward yourself with food? And why would you even believe that food is a reward?
Exactly. That's
Right? Because the problem with eating as a reward and not when you're hungry, to use it like that, is it gives you results of things that you don't want. And so I feel like I'm running around in two different models right now with you, because part of it is that you have a belief system that food is a reward. In fact, I'm thinking, as I'm looking at this, is that in order to clarify this for you, maybe we look at more like, in the second model, you understand your unintentional model with hosting events, and you can
yes.
see how it leads to wanting to eat when you're not hungry.
Yes.
And I think everybody can see that. But I think for what you're looking for, I think we should look at more at your thought about thinking that food is a reward.
Yes, because that's a really old, buried one.
And I think a lot of people on this call have it.
Yeah.
So I just think for practical purposes, I would like you to do an intentional model off of hosting these, because you have a lot of good reasons for wanting to do it that have nothing to do with feeling pressure or overwhelmed. I think it's something that you feel like you have a gift that you want to do, but I think what you think is you're doing things you don't want to be doing and you don't know how to say no.
And
You
I
don't know how to say, I want to do this, but I don't want to do that.
Exactly. Yes,
So,
I have.
So I suggest you do an intentional model on that. And I'll be happy to help you with it over email too.
Okay, great.
Because it's not your nature. Or if you want to make it your nature, or if you want to make it your gift, and you want it to feel good. I mean, you want a feeling of feeling good about doing this. You don't want to create negative emotion.
Right.
Which is really what you're doing right now, off of something that could be very powerful and good for you and your community.
Right, right.
But let's just talk about your protocol. Eating. And your thought is that food sometimes is a reward. Or I want to eat when I feel stressed, or I want to be rewarded with food when something doesn't go my way. Because I think that's where your urge comes from. And I think you don't want to look at your urge jar, because I think that that's what's going on.
Right. And when I'm not stressed in all these things, then I have a easier time managing the urges and not feeling like I have to reward myself. But when I go through these stressful times,
when I think things that cause me to feel stressed out,
okay,
you end up eating when you're not hungry.
Right.
And what I want to tell you is that that does not have to be a reward, period.
Right.
So we can put here protocol. We can just put uncomfortable situations as a circumstance.
Yes.
Just to show you how to do it, because everybody on this call has uncomfortable circumstances. And I'm going to make it a C for the purpose of everybody watching this. A circumstance that you don't want. It could be the number on the scale. It could be something you're doing that you don't want to be doing. Whatever it is. Let's just put a circumstance, something I don't want. I'm going to do it as a C. Everybody knows I'm kind of making it up a little bit, but everybody's got that C.
Yeah, right.
Okay, something I don't want. The thought
is this unintentional or intentional?
Oh, this is unintentional right now.
Okay.
I think that the thought already is that, you are wanting to reward yourself, right? Like when I don't like something, I want to feel better. I want to eat. I want to feel better.
Yeah, the thought is I don't feel good about this, so I want to feel better.
So the feeling is an urge. I want
Mm-hmm.
you to see this is where the urge comes from.
Yeah, and
And
there's
the
a
thought is I need something to feel better.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
The A is you eat when you're not hungry or you go off protocol.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Go off protocol. And the result is, do you feel better or worse?
Feel worse.
Right. So sometimes when you're creating evidence for a thought, you'll get the exact opposite.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. But it's still connected to the thought.
Right. Right.
Feel worse, don't get what you want.
Yep.
And it's so funny, like with the circumstances, it's already something that you don't want.
Right. Right. To begin with.
Right. And I'm making up a C. This is a very,
Yeah.
very loose C to begin with. But everybody has it. So here's the thing for the holidays, for everything. How are you going to handle something when it's not going your way? Let's just put a holiday party and somebody says something to you.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's going to have it.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's going to have a holiday party. Everybody's going to have something that they have to do that they don't want to do. I'm just putting it holiday BS.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Right.
But here's the thing.
So,
how do you want to manage this? How do you really want to reward yourself? That's really the question.
right.
Right?
Yeah. How to have kindness for myself in a way that will be more of a positive, something positive for myself.
Right.
Put me in a positive cycle, not a negative one.
So you don't want to be creating more urges,
Right.
because an urge is coming. We talked a lot about, when you put a stone in the urge jar, it's because it's a managed urge, which means like a managed urge for you is I want something to make me feel better. And if you give into it, it doesn't go on the allowed worksheet, right? And you don't get the stone because you gave into it. You ate.
Right.
But if you say, I feel bad and I want something to make me feel better, but you say something to yourself that calms you down, then you get to put a stone in the urge jar because you managed it and you calmed yourself down and at the same time allowed it to come in.
So when you say allow an urge, it's a managed urge.
Yes. So when you're managing an urge, you can allow it or you can still resist it. So you can really push it away and say, you can do a managed urge that's more resistant, like just go do something and you can't have that. You've been bad and you can't eat that. And it's just like you won't eat it, but you aren't really just being calm and allowing it to come through. You're
allowing,
just going,
right.
So you could end up with it in your urge jar, but it's resisted, which means you're probably still going to give into it at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Allowing it is when you notice the urge, you notice the thought like, oh man, I need something right now, right? I need something to make me feel better. I deserve something to make me feel better. You notice it, you feel how bad you want it, and then you say something kind to yourself and you still allow it, which I know, sweetheart, I know how much you want it. I know how much you think you deserve it. It's just not going to get you what you want.
Right, right.
And that's the practice of unmanaged and managed thoughts. The unmanaged thought is I deserve it. The managed thought is you're not going to get what you want if you eat it, sweetheart. I know you want it. It's like, I know, I'm going to let you see how bad you want it. It's okay.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I forget what to say to myself. You know, the intentional thought. It's not
That's because you're not practicing.
right.
Right? And the thought of practicing to you does not make you feel good. You look at the urge you look at the urge jar, and it makes you not want to do it. Right? And the whole idea is if you could look at it, or even if you don't do the urge jar and you just start doing an allowed urge worksheet.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I guess I was confused on what the allowing part was.
Does that make sense what I'm saying now?
Now it makes sense. Yes.
Mm-hmm. So if we did, say that again.
You're allowing it to, but you're not giving into it.
That's right. You're allowing the feeling of wanting it.
Come through. Mm-hmm.
You're allowing it. It's kind of like having a little kid that's just throwing a fit. You know, because they want lollipops first thing in the morning. My grandson is just with him. He wants certain things first thing in the morning. He starts screaming.
Right.
You know, so my daughter-in-law could scream and yell at him, go, "What are you talking about? You can't have that. It's for, you know." It's like, right. I know, Sebastian. I know. I know how bad you want it. I know, sweetheart. I know it's really hard, but it's really going to make you feel bad.
Yeah.
Let's have this instead.
True. Mm-hmm.
And so the holiday BS then becomes, how can I be kinder to myself? Maybe it's like, I just want to be kinder to myself.
And talk kinder to myself. Mm-hmm.
I can be kinder to myself. And that feeling is more compassionate. Yeah?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And then your action.
Stay on protocol. Mm-hmm.
You know, and really just be kinder to yourself in your head.
Right.
It's like, right. I know. You know, and that's like when you want to change your action, like sometimes people want to distract themselves. Mm-hmm. And you can do that in your A line if you have the right T line. Mm-hmm. Right? Like if you say, I know, sweetheart, let's just go in the other room and let's just do something else. It's based on this T. It's easier to do it. If you just try to distract yourself and do something in the A line, but the T line is, I deserve it.
Right. Right.
It's not going to, you're going to end up going back and doing it.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So you stay on protocol.
Feel calmer. Feel calmer.
Feel calmer, and you're kind to yourself. You create the thought. You create evidence for the thinking. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Make sense?
Yeah, I like that. Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be your practice for the holiday, and to make your project is really going to be about how can I be kinder to myself. It's like this is like the key for everybody.
Yeah.
There's not anybody on this call that doesn't want to learn how to be kinder to themselves. I guarantee you. Mm-hmm. But the problem is you've got to watch your T line, you know, because when you tell yourself you deserve a reward, you think you're being kind to yourself. It's just the R line is all messed up. You're not getting what you want. So you got to watch it when your little brain says, you know what, that would really be a nice thing to do. Mm-hmm. You know, eating 20 cookies right now would be a really good idea. You know, it's Christmas. These people are terrible. And those cookies look good. I mean, that's your brain for you.
Yeah. And I've been able to talk back to it many times.
I know you have.
It just threw me for a loop. It really bubbled up out of nowhere, and I needed some help. So thank you.
And not only that, it's always going to bubble up. Don't be surprised when it bubbles up.
Right.
It's like you're going to just keep going through layers and layers of things that come up, and you're going to go, where did that come from? I would rather you know that it's going to come.
Yeah, right. Right.
Okay?
Yes, thank you.
It was good seeing you. Okay, I'm gonna put you back, hopefully. Let me see.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Okay. I hope that was helpful for everybody. And I'm going to take this down. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring Heidi up because I think you're going to be able to relate to everything she's talking about. So let me see if I can get her up. And that'll probably be our last call today. But I think both of these things that we're talking about right now, the most important thing is about what you're going to do and how you're going to treat yourself with the circumstance of the holidays. And all the things that go on, I was just giving a C, but you can just name it what that C is going to be. And then you get to decide how you want to be around it, because what you can do during the holidays, if you can do it during the holidays, everything else becomes so much easier. So use it as a place to help you, as a platform for learning, not to be frustrated or overwhelmed, but like, how can I be kinder to myself? How can I take better care of myself? Eating 20 cookies isn't going to do it, but maybe it is going to be about planning something that you want. Maybe you decide what it's going to be, but make it easy on yourself, and at the same time be very, very kind to yourself. All right, so I'm going to bring Heidi up here. I'm going to allow her to talk. All right, Heidi, you should be able to hear me. Can you talk? Can you talk? I can't hear you. I see you, but I can't hear you. So, can I hear you now? No, you're still muted. Let's see. I can't hear you. Hold on. Okay, you should be able to unmute yourself. I'm going to mute you back, and then I'm going to let you try to do it. All right, try to go down to the bottom and unmute yourself, because I can't hear you. I can see you. It's so good to see you, but I can't hear you. Bottom left. I just unmuted you again. And you just muted yourself. Do that again. You're unmuted. I can't hear you. I wonder if it's something with your headset. Yes, it's your headset. I can hear you. Can you talk? Oh, no, I can't hear you. No. Oh, I heard you unplug that.
Okay, how about now?
Oh, I can hear you.
Okay.
Hi.
Hi.
Good to see you. Welcome.
Thank you. This is so fun.
Yes. Was it helpful, everything Maria talked about?
Now I can't hear you. Hold on.
Can you hear me? I can't hear you. Darn. Now I can hear you.
It's my headset. So hold on.
I can hear you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? No.
Just a second.
Okay. All right, you guys, while I'm waiting for Heidi, let me think about what would be most helpful during the holidays, because we're going to have another call, not this Thursday, but next Thursday. So I think that'll be another thing. I want to make sure that all of you send me in questions that you want to be coached on, so that we can talk more about the holidays. But for now, it's like, how do you decide that when you're going to a party or when you're hosting a party, how are you going to decide what you're going to do? Are you going to just let it happen, or are you going to make sure you know what's going to happen? And I'm thinking about, like, for myself, usually what I do is I don't like to eat a lot when I go to parties, because when I'm talking to people, it really makes me, I can't really concentrate on eating. And so I tend to eat before I ever go to a party myself. I don't like to be hungry. So I'm just wondering for the rest of you how you like to do it. Do you like to socialize and eat? Can you hear me, Heidi?
Now I can.
Okay, I can hear you too.
Okay, great.
Okay, so I was just talking a little bit more about holiday parties and how you want to go about doing it, but I know that's not what you want to talk about,
Okay.
right?
I don't have any more holiday parties.
Oh, good. Well, you still have the holidays,
Yes.
right? And so the whole idea is tell me what you sent me in an email so everybody else understands.
Okay.
And is it okay if we run a little bit late?
It's okay with me.
Okay, everybody, we're going to run just a little bit late. Okay. So basically what you said in your email is when you're making healthy choices and you don't get the results you want, how do you keep yourself from wanting to eat everything in sight and give it all up?
Mm-hmm. Basic.
That's basically it, yeah?
Yep.
Okay, so why don't you give us just a little bit, tell me what's going on.
Well, I've been working with you now for a long time.
Yeah.
And I've been working with a personal trainer, and I've been following, food journaling and, doing all the right things, and the scale is not moving.
So is the scale still exactly the same?
Yeah, it goes between 3 and 4 pounds.
Okay, so you've lost 3 or 4 pounds now.
Yeah. And then when I weighed last Wednesday, it was up 2 pounds. And I don't know why.
Uh-huh.
And I know I'm gaining a lot of muscle working with the trainer. So that's part of the reason. But, as we've talked about, I have a lot of weight to lose. So, the feeling I'm trying to work with is feeling like I'm being so good, so compliant, no flour, no sugar, most of the time. I've had
but no flour, no sugar most of the time.
Right.
What does that mean?
That means I'll go 5 days, no flour, no sugar, and then I'll have a day where I, not binge, but, I'll go to a party and or go to an event and maybe have a glass of wine.
It's planned.
I did plan. I went to an event last Thursday and I planned it, a glass of wine, and I didn't do dessert. But then there's times when I give in to urges and eat things I shouldn't.
Okay.
Or that are protocol.
Right. So I think there's a couple things that we can look at when we look at models, because the most important thought that I think we need to look at is your thought that you're so good and this isn't worth, why should I go through all of this if I'm not getting the weight loss that I want? That's really the poisonous thought, right? So I think that we want to look at that more than we want to look at anything. Because the other thought too that I have, the other idea is what would happen if you did it 100%? And why don't you? Would be my other. And so I think we're going to look at that in the A line.
Okay.
Because I think that might be really helpful too. Because I think everybody on here, basically when they have a C, when they don't like it, what happens, right? And so with the number on the scale, for you, it's something that you want to work with for the rest of your life. And what are you going to do when it gives you what you want? And what are you going to do when it doesn't give you what you want? And so for you, you think the only reason that you're being good is to lose weight. Right? And it's when I think about you and the changes in you from the time that I started working with you until now, you're not the same woman. And I think a lot of that comes from a lot of the changes that you made with what you put in your mouth, how you decide to eat, what you decide to do, how you decide to take care of yourself, how you decide to talk to yourself. And you have to take that into account when you say, I think I want to stop all that. Basically what you're saying is, I just want to go back to doing the way things I did if I can't get what I want. And I'm thinking are you sure you're not getting what you want at all? And then it's what would it take to get what you want? All of it. But first you have to go with, if the scale isn't moving like you want, do you really believe you're not getting what you want? And do you really believe that you're sacrificing? Because if you believe that you're sacrificing and you're doing things that you don't want to be doing, you will not continue to do this no matter what the scale says. So I think this is a very good project for you, because this is something that you want to do for the rest of your life. And you're going to see, you're already seeing in your mind what's going to mess you up. And I bet you that thought has appeared many times in your life. Tell me where I'm wrong.
That's right.
So over here on this end, I see a changed woman. And I think the next call, I'm going to read some of the emails that you sent about some of the stuff that you wrote, because it's so amazing for you. So it's like, what if weight loss is the last thing that's going to happen, and that you would give up before it happened, and you would go back to treating yourself the way you used to treat yourself? Why would you ever want to do that? You were terrible to yourself. You were so mean to yourself. You upset me so much with the way that you talk to yourself. I got upset.
I'm sorry.
Right? I mean, we had a lot of matches about you screaming at yourself and telling yourself such terrible things. And now you're so beautiful and you say such good things to yourself, except when it comes to the number on the scale.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the number on the scale, the unintentional model is, I might as well go back and have, I mean, it's like, I think that you said said something like, why don't I just go back and eat and be merry? What's so great about eating and being merry? How merry and how happy were you about all of that? Getting up in the middle of the night and eating and all this other stuff. And now that you're eating more, no flour, no sugar, and your mind-body chart has improved so much with your physical and mental health, why would you want to go back to that just because the scale's not moving when you know that there's got to be a way to make it move?
Yeah, I think that's the key, is that last part, when you know there's got to be a way to make it move.
Well, for sure, one of the ways might be to be 100% on protocol, which we haven't discovered. We haven't talked about it yet.
Imagine that might be the way. And maybe there's, I mean, it just kind of popped into my mind. Maybe that's that fear that if I'm 100% and the scale doesn't move, wow, then I'm really screwed.
Okay, so that's where all the problem is in the number on the scale and your thoughts about it. Right? Because either way, like, so you're saying like, if it moves, then everything is fine. If the circumstance changes, I'll feel better. Right? But the only reason you're going to feel better is because your thought's going to change. So whatever that thought is, maybe you should just have it now.
Okay.
If your thoughts create your results, if your results are evidence for your thoughts, then what do you want to be thinking? Because really what you're thinking right now is, I'm only going to be good if the scale moves. I'm going to be good, quote unquote good. And I think what you mean by good is like not eating what you want, not drinking what you want. Because, am I right?
Yes.
Okay, you got to work on that thought, because in the end, you got to be doing what you want to be doing.
Well, it's not not eating what I want. It's, my thought is, I really want to be happy eating purely fuel foods.
Okay.
That's my thought is, you know, I know how to do it. I have some great fuel foods I've incorporated. I want to figure out how to be happy eating those fuel foods and not doing what I know, you know, for me has been a lot in the past is, you know, well, if you want to do something that's sustainable, then don't tell yourself you'll never have another cookie or you'll never have another glass of wine, because, you know, you can always do that. And we talk about, you know, planning your joy eats and things like that. But for me, it gets to that place where I don't want to have to think that I have to have a glass of wine or a bunch of cookies to be happy. Like that's not a good thought for me.
I want you to see that that's what you're thinking. I don't want to have to think about what I want to eat.
Right.
Oh my God, look at this. Oh, it's dry. Oh my God, what a model. So the feeling is when you think the thought, is that I don't want to have to think about what I have to eat or want to eat. The feeling, what is that feeling when you think that?
Pressure.
Or even like self-pity.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to have to do that. I don't want to have to think about what I want to eat.
Yeah.
For me. Why me? Look at everybody. Everybody's out there having a party
Definitely.
and eating, and me.
Definitely.
Self-pity. I love your A line. So your A line is eating off a protocol.
Yeah.
Oh, eating off protocol and telling yourself. What do you tell yourself? What do you say to yourself? This is really important, your self-talk.
When I eat off protocol?
Well, what do you do when you feel sorry for yourself, when you think that you don't want to have to think about this and you feel sorry for yourself and you eat off protocol and you probably say things to yourself like, you just told me, I'm being so good and the scale's not moving and poor me and and it shouldn't be this way and this is too hard. And I mean, like self-talk, poor me self-talk. And I know everybody can relate to this because it happens to all of us.
Mm-hmm.
But this is in your way. This is in your way of making this the last time. Mm-hmm. Because it gets in the way of what you put in your mouth. And what you put in your mouth has everything to do with your result. So the result is you don't think about it. You don't think about it, and you don't get the results you want. Horrible model, but really good for you to see, because it just sounds like you know, like, hey, I'm being really good. I've never been this good before. And really, the way that you're eating compared to the way you were eating is so much better. Yeah. And it's made you feel so much better.
Right.
Right?
And I go to the movies. I go to the movies a lot, but I go to the movies and my friend sits next to me and she eats popcorn and I don't eat popcorn and
it should be enough. I mean, in your mind, you're going like, isn't that enough?
Isn't that enough? Like
that's you.
I didn't have popcorn and a glass of wine, which I always did at the movies before.
It should be different.
That should be enough. Why is the scale not moving? Yeah.
Right. And that is your problem. The problem isn't the scale. The problem is that you don't want to have to think about it.
Right.
Right. Well, I got news for you. Anything in your life that you want, you're going to have to think about, because otherwise your mind will be on automatic and it will do whatever the hell it wants.
Or what it's used to doing for 56
years. It will do, your primitive brain will run on automatic, correct, and it will do whatever it wants, right? It's an unmanaged mind. It's unmanaged thoughts. And I think you don't want that anymore, but you can tell me where I'm wrong.
No, I don't want it anymore.
Well, it's really good to know.
I'll think myself into a frenzy. So I have to learn how to simplify the thoughts and think the good thoughts without dissecting and overanalyzing and beating a dead horse.
I don't think you have to think the good thoughts. I think you have to see what you're thinking. I think for everybody that's on this call, you don't change things until you know where you're at. Because when you sent me your email, you think you're just reporting the news to me. You know, like, how good do I have to be? I mean, like, what is going on here? I have changed so much. I have given up so much. It's like a martyr.
I know.
And the scale. But the problem is we're all the same.
So horrible.
Everybody on this call has it.
Yeah.
I promise you. And the thing is that you have to think about it. Even knowing what you're thinking, you have to think about it just to know what you're thinking. Mm-hmm. And the reason, in my mind, and you can tell me where I'm wrong, where you're doing so well, is because you are thinking about it. Mm-hmm. You're thinking about everything. You're managing your mind. You've become this happier woman. You're writing all this stuff on Facebook and sending me all this positive stuff about, like, who is this woman? I mean, mean, for people who are watching this call, just to share with you, you were a really sad, sad woman when we first started. There was a lot of crying going on. And Stephanie, who's not on this call today, was the same way. I mean, a lot of us have had a lot of sadness around this, all of us. And to be out of that sadness is so big. Don't underestimate it.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for that reminder. Because
You forget.
Yeah, and the transformation. You know, the how my body's feeling better, and
everything is feeling so
kinder
much
to
better.
myself. It's so good to see that, because otherwise I would dismiss it because the number on the scale.
Because it's the way we always did it, is all we cared about was losing weight. But if all you care about is losing weight, more than likely you're just going to gain it back anyway and lose it and gain it. That's all you've done.
Right.
So if you want to do it differently, you've got to manage your mind, and you're going to have to think about it. Now, when I say you don't have to, but I think it'd be a wonderful choice to choose. Like, I think thinking about things and managing things is really important. Tell me where I'm wrong.
No, it's everything. And
It's changed everything for you.
It has.
It's changed everything for everybody on this call. It's the one thing that makes it different. Is this, not this.
Interesting.
So what you eat is not the catalyst. This is the catalyst. And as long as you think you deserve something because you're working so hard and you don't want to have to think about it and poor me, you're going to do things that you don't want to be doing, and you're going to get things that you don't want.
Okay. So I love that, the circles you made. So on the T, when I'm sitting there thinking, I'm at the movies, my friend has popcorn, she keeps offering me some, and I keep saying, no, thank you, no, thank you. The thought needs to be not, for me, I've been so good, I deserve to treat
I don't want to have to think about it. Or I don't want to have to think, I'm sick of having to think about it.
If I'm going to think about it, I'm just going to do what I want to do what feels good.
Yeah.
So a better thought is, what? You always make me do it.
I know. Terrible.
A better thought is, I'm making choices that support me in this better lifestyle and that make me happier.
Okay. I mean, do you love a lot of the things that are going on for you right now?
I do.
Okay. Well, why don't you think about that when you're thinking about not eating popcorn? It's like, I can feel this fantastic, or I can just eat popcorn and feel like shit. Which do I want?
Except I go to the next thought, which is, well, popcorn's not so bad.
You can choose. You can always eat pop. You can eat anything you want.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. The thought starts to spin out. Like, I start to trick myself.
Of course you do, but you didn't eat it, so.
I could be eating Milk Duds, or I could be, so is popcorn so bad?
Right, but you didn't eat it.
Right.
So where we're at right now is when you're deciding to stay on a protocol, whatever that is, what do you want to think about it? Other than, I don't want to have to think about it. Your protocol, your eating protocol is here. Your A is staying on protocol.
Right.
I would say, wouldn't you want your A to be 100% on protocol? Why would you want to be 60% or 70% or 80%?
Yeah.
And if the worst thing that happens is if the scale didn't move, you'd learn something else.
Right.
Or else you're going to be the first person in history that has never lost weight. I mean, you will lose weight. You will figure it out. You've got to know that. You've got to believe that you will figure it out.
You're not the first person to tell me that, I think I'd be the first person not to lose weight if I just stayed 100% on.
Well, you're not. Okay, but why don't you get 100% on and see what happens?
Wouldn't that be an interesting thing?
100% on, and really do the research about what you're eating, how much you're eating, what you're eating. You may need to know.
Oh, no. Yeah, no, I'm doing that. I'm taking, in fact, I'm doing the FitnessPal to track, amounts and things like that, because we've talked about that.
Right, but I don't care about the calories.
I know, but it's important to know amounts and
So you know,
choose
so
for me
you,
means.
yes,
Mhm.
for you right now, it's important to become very curious about your
Mhm.
protocol if you're
Right.
not getting what you want.
Right.
But I would think the first thing that I'd be very curious about in my protocol is going off protocol
Right.
before anything. So it's like,
Maybe-
okay, like I'm fixing the amounts that I eat so I can see what I'm eating, but I go off protocol. I wonder what the problem is. So it's like, what if you stayed 100% on your protocol, what it is,
Mhm.
and curious about food choices, how much, what you're eating, and if your little brain goes, I shouldn't have to do that, then you can just talk back to it and go like, well, maybe I do. Maybe I need to know. And you can have a self-pity party about it, or you can become empowered about it.
Okay.
And you're a lawyer. So I don't have to tell you that you put your nose to the grindstone when you really want something, or when you're really grilling somebody else. What do you call it when it's not called grilling. What's it called?
I don't, cross-examining or something
Cross-examining.
that in mind, but I'm taught how to,
You know what I'm talking about.
present both sides. Yeah. Mhm.
Right. So you can see that the side that you're presenting the most is the poor me side.
Uh-huh.
And what's happening on the poor me side are all the things that you're not getting, that's helping you not get what you want. I want you to go on the other side. And I want you to do everything it takes to get what you want, and to know that you're going to do it no matter what. You're going to figure it out.
Okay.
So what do you want to be thinking? In order to become curious about your food, to be 100% on protocol, what do you want to be thinking and feeling that you can 100% believe? How do you want to feel? How do you want to feel about doing this?
I want to feel strong. I want to feel committed. I want to feel
I think that's how you spell committed. Anyway, okay,
Yeah.
so I think committed is a good word. It's a
Yeah.
good feeling. What do you want to think to feel committed?
I deserve it.
Does that make you feel committed? I deserve what?
But it's so tricky.
It is. Your mind is really tricky about wanting
Super
to deserve
tricky.
things, right? But what about this? If you want to feel committed, how about it's like, I'm willing to do, I'm willing to learn,
Okay.
whatever it takes. Are you?
Yes.
Well, why don't you think that?
Okay. Willing to learn, willing to do whatever it takes.
100%? Believe it?
100%.
Okay. And then your mind's going to come in and go, I don't want to think about this anymore. I mean, that's enough thinking going on for the day. And you have to watch that. It's going to come in a million times in the beginning just to test you.
It does. Yeah.
Right? And you're going to stop it before it runs down the track and go, no,
Okay.
I am willing to do this. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get what I want here, whatever it is. And whatever it is means changing my protocol. If it means eating less, if it means eating more, if it means changing the times that you eat, whatever it is. As opposed to throwing a fit every time something doesn't work.
Yeah. And what just keeps popping up for me is that you say I'm taught as a lawyer to, argue with the other person, but I'm also taught to kind of poke holes in,
Oh, believe me, I know that.
What I start doing is I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. Well, is this really what it takes? Well, wait a minute. That person told me that, I shouldn't deprive myself, or this person told, so is this really what it takes?
Okay,
You know,
what
just-
it takes is whatever it takes for you to do it. And when your little brain goes, this, that, or another thing, say one thing at a time, I'll do whatever it takes.
Okay. That's a good, yeah. That's a good one thing at a
It's
time.
like a lot of people have a lot of good ideas for you. That's just fine and dandy. But the only person that's going to figure it out is you.
Yeah, that's right.
And you being deprived is just a feeling you create. So if somebody says to you, I'm saying to you, I don't think you should feel deprived. If you feel deprived, it's because you're thinking something that's making you feel deprived.
Mm-hmm.
That's all.
Mm-hmm.
Deprivation comes from your own mind. It doesn't come from the sea.
Okay.
Like, how much do you like feeling better about
I-
yourself?
I love it.
Right. Like, what a pleasure to feel good about yourself without losing any weight. Can you imagine how good you feel losing weight?
I know.
Right? Because weight loss isn't what makes you happy. Happiness doesn't come from that. It comes from you in your head. I'm willing to figure it out. How about that?
Figure it out. Mm-hmm.
And I would add to that, no matter what.
Right. Whatever it takes.
I'm saying no matter what, or you can do whatever it takes. I like no matter what when I add it to my thoughts because it's just like, it's a done deal, no matter what. But
Okay.
whatever it takes, if you like that better, that's great.
No, I'm willing I'm willing to figure it out.
Yeah, and then what happens in your R line when you're 100% on protocol, curious about your food choices and change when need to. Do you think you'll figure it out
I do.
based on the T?
I'm willing to figure it out no matter what, and I'll figure it out.
And then your little brain starts throwing a little fit. And it's like if all you have to do is be with your friends and not drink wine or eat popcorn when you didn't plan it and stay in your protocol to feel wonderful and good about yourself and to get down to a weight that you want, is it okay to do that?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's not a terrible thing. Maybe it's a wonderful thing.
It is. Yeah.
Maybe it's a wonderful thing to go, you know what? It's an urge. It's okay. I don't have to. This feels better. And the more you do that and the less you reward the urges, the more your prefrontal cortex will take over for you and use this. But you will have to practice it. This takes practice. The other thoughts are easy. And that goes for everybody on this call. The other thoughts are easy. They're
It's really
well practiced.
like a workout.
Well, what?
It's like a workout, building the
It's
muscle.
like working out.
You can't just do it once in a while.
You've got to practice it every single day.
Mm-hmm.
Every single day
Mm-hmm.
until you get what you want. And then it's like, it's just going to be the way it's going to be. You're just going to always,
Mhm.
and you'll use it for everything else in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I can do this, wow, I can do anything. Right? And you don't make yourself a martyr and you don't have pity parties. Not acceptable.
No pity parties.
No pity parties. Celebratory parties. Celebrating your uniqueness, your beautifulness, your wonderfulness, all the things that you now see about yourself. I'd be celebrating that. I wouldn't be having pity parties. I'd be having a pity party. I had a pity party with you in the beginning. It was no fun. I don't like it. No pity parties for anybody during the holidays. It's a celebratory period for you. And I want you to make this holiday period, I want you to make yourself your project, whatever it takes, like my daughter-in-law. The work that she goes to for those kids every single day, we should be doing the same things for ourselves. What you do for your kids, you should do for yourself. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Beautiful. I'll see you not next Thursday, but the Thursday after. And we'll have some more beautiful things to say. And so I'm going to go ahead and end this call with you on it. Do you have any other questions for me?
I don't know.
Okay. So does anybody else have any questions for me while I still have Heidi on the call? Anybody? I have the Q&A up, the chat up. If anybody has anything that they want to ask me, going once, going twice, going 3 times. Okay. Have a beautiful couple weeks. See you not this Thursday, but next Thursday. Work on it.
Thank you, Dr. Deb.
Bye.
Hi, ladies.